understandably, there was an information vacuum while the operation was ongoing, yung pag-aresto kay Rodrigo Duterte. Talagang limited yung information because you can understand the perspective of the government. They wanted that to proceed smoothly. And I think, no, you also said your piece about that on social media. Eto, how crucial yung pagpasok nung ganitong flood of trolls during that 12-hour window between the arrest and yung kanyang paglipad sa ICC in terms of the Duterte people controlling the narrative?
So, the way algorithms work, no? Pag may certain topic, the moment bad quality information comes in large quantities, nag-skew yung algorithm in favor of that narrative. At yun yung magiging first thing na makikita ng mga tao pag nag-scroll lang sila sa kanilang mga app or if magsa-search sila on TikTok or YouTube, what have you. So kailangang mag-compete yung news outlets na mas measured, mas pinag-isipan yung angle. Kailangan nilang mag-compete dun sa parang torrent of bad informations, biased information. And yung nakakalungkot pa ay tayong mga mainstream media, tayo pa yung inaakasuhan, 'di ba, na tayo daw yung biased. So that's the way that it shapes people's perceptions. Na if that's the first thing that you see, usually yun yung unang impression ng mga tao. And it's harder then for you to kind of undo that first impression. Or that can impact what follow-up information you will get. So, ang apel ako sa mga news consumers natin, sa mga kababayan po natin, is whenever you see a piece of information online, whether that comes from media or from a vlogger, kahit ano, always check your emotions and your emotional reaction to it. Kasi yung itong mga sensationalist na mga vloggers na nagfe-fear monger or nagsasabi ng kung ano-ano, they're playing to emotions ng mga supporters ni President Duterte. Nagmamakaawa, nagre-rage, no? And then they use your anger, your frustration to fuel yung algorithm nila, to fuel yung agenda nila. At kung hindi kayo careful, yun nga, may report nga na lumabas sa Rappler na they did an analysis na yung mga vloggers who spread things like this, they can earn up to 20,000 pesos a day. Sa pag-fear monger nila ng mga viral videos na kung ano-ano yung kinakalat nila. So there are people who are actually profiting off of spreading this disinformation. So yun, mga things that we should be mindful about.
Chi, dun sa monitoring ninyo, no? Tuloy pa rin ba ito? Yung flood of trolls or blitz na binabanggit mo? Or medyo nag-slow down sila and then they took on different narratives now?
Yung sa kidnapping itself, it's different kinds of variations na forced abduction. Lalo na nung nagsabi po si Salvador Medialdea sa mismong hearing na he was taken against his will, this is forced abduction. So nakadagdag yon na ina-amplify siya ng official people. Si Vice President Sara Duterte, si Salvador Medialdea, even si Veronica Kitty Duterte. Lahat sila may kidnapping message. Pero I would say na mas overwhelming ngayon yung surge ng iba't ibang forms of messaging na iba-iba yung target audience. Merong yung mga mass resignation daw ng soldiers or ng AFP.
Yeah, police.
That's one thing. And then there's another, yung sa mga OFWs, parang may hinahalungkat na dating stories ni Duterte as a savior of migrant workers. And now, it's a contrast sa situation niya, something like that. So, iba-ibang stories or narratives na siya ngayon, iba-ibang form of coordinated and inauthentic behavior yung nakikita natin. So, I would say it's really a torrent of disinformation ngayon na fino-flood talaga lahat ng possible platforms.
Meron pa dyan, di ba? Nakita niyo siguro, Regine, yung nire-revive yung old videos, yung meron siyang inaakap ng mga wounded soldiers or police officers. Tapos, paano mong hindi mamahalin yan? Yung ganun, di ba? Simple
Mhm.
vertical clips, tapos yung kumakain siya, simple lang doon sa bahay niya sa Davao, tapos meron palang lechon eventually, no? Nakita sa ibang frame. Pero nandun yung obvious na paawa approach, di ba, when it comes to this content. Pag ganyan, paano ba dapat, how should we deal with that? First as journalists and siguro as a public at large. Regine.
First, ako, very suspicious ako of everything that I see online. I don't believe that things I see online are organic. Yun na yung aking default mindset. Because if you monitor these things, ayun, katulad ng sinabi ni Chi, karamihan ng accounts doon sa 200, mukhang totoong tao. Pero coordinated yung messaging nila. So parang suspicious, di ba? And I feel the same way about these kinds of videos. So hindi ko nakita yung the one about the ones of President Duterte. Pero yung mga nakikita ko, mga fan cams ni Kitty Duterte. So alam mo yung before, nung medyo naging uso yung fan cams of Sandro Marcos, may ganong treatment ngayon na nakikita ko sa TikTok of Kitty Duterte. And
Regine,
medyo yes.
para sa amin na medyo advanced sa
Okay.
age, para may fan cam, paki-explain naman sa amin.
Okay. So yung fan cam, klaseng edit ito, usually ginagamit sa mga K-pop stars or celebrities. So
Alam ko naman yung K-pop, alam ko na yan.
Okay. So basically, parang
Diniinan mo, gets ko yun eh. Oo. Yung fan cam
Oo,
lang
pero
gusto ko man.
yung style ng edit, kumbaga, camera shots siya ng linalagyan ng filter ng may glitter, ganon. Tapos linalagyan ng trending music, ganon. Basically, para i-glorify yung etong subject of the
For
So
the
usually,
record, alam ko pala, pero yun pala yung tawag. Okay. Alam ko
yun
yun.
ang tawag doon, fan
Hindi ko alam
cam.
na
So,
yun ang tawag. Okay. Bagong kaalaman. Sige, thank you.
oo, kasi usually ginagawa siya ng fans for K-pop celebrities, 'di ba?
Okay.
Pero ang nakikita natin, yung itong method na ginagamit sa pop culture, ginagamit siya for politicians. Sa mga influence operations nila, no? So dati, may mga ganun for Sandro Marcos, and then now nakikita ko na may mga ganito for Kitty Duterte. Lalong-lalo na nung nag-i-Instagram live stream siya, 'di ba, during the arrest. So maraming mga na-recycle na video galing dun sa stream niya na na-repurpose dito sa mga fan cam. And yung ibang mga fan cam, gumagamit ng kanyang mga baby photos with Duterte. So, naalala ko, nung may nakausap akong PR expert before, parang how can you tell na inauthentic itong mga fan cam na ito, na plantado ito, that this is an influence operation. At isa sa mga sinabi niya sa akin, the mere fact na may access yung mga fan cam account na ito sa baby photos ng isang political family, suspicious na yon kasi hindi naman yun makukuha ng regular person, di ba? So, the mere fact that they have yung mga ganito, tapos mass production siya sa TikTok, makikita mo siyang repeated constantly throughout TikTok. That's a sign na influence operations yan, na hindi yan authentic. Kasi kung 1 or 2 people lang yan, sige, sabihin natin may mga diehard. Pero kung mass production yan. So that's what the media should be considering when they report about these things, no? Kung ano yung mga telltale signs na these are potential inauthentic support. So isang tip ko rin sa media or suggestion ko sa mga colleagues natin sa media, when framing all of etong massive support for Duterte, yung overwhelming parang always mention yung reality ng numbers, which is that the surveys actually say that people actually are in favor of the ICC trial. So yung nakikita natin optics online, pang project lang yan illusion of majority yan to convince people that they're more. It's a problem that may ganito pa rin people who don't listen to facts and we have to address that. Pero we also have to drive the point na this is actually a minority narrative already, potentially. Ayun.
Isa pa ang problema dyan, a big part of our population actually listens to facts but does not accept it. Diba? Yun ang problema Alam ko totoo sinasabi mo, pero naniniwala pa rin ako sa gusto kong paniwalaan. Mahirap yun, no?